name.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
Ask you to bless us, hallelujah. Bless our president, Lord. Let him get his points across. We thank you for all he has done, God. Bless the service, hallelujah. Anoint our speaker, Lord. She let us speak a word, hallelujah. Let her reach us all, God. Let reach the youth and reach the depths, God. Just bless us, God.
Yes, Lord.
Strengthen us, Lord. Let us be in your will, God. Let us stay in your will,
Thank you,
Jesus.
Jesus.
We thank you for everything in Jesus' name.
Amen.
All right. So this is the president's meeting that we normally have, but I wanted to make it a training because we all have information and things that we can use. So if you got a pencil and paper, you can use it. If not, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to be mad if you're not taking notes. But we are recording, just so you know. So if anybody's got a more on anything, we try not to zoom in on your face too much. So today we're going to be talking about having a dynamic youth ministry on a dollar store budget. Okay, so having I wish there was a blackboard in here. Having a dynamic youth ministry on a dollar store budget. So let me start by asking this: when you are planning a youth service or a youth Bible study or a youth event, what are some of the resources you normally use to those that have put something together? Where do you go to get resources? Is it a person? Is it a website? Is it a book? What do you find?
I always use a person.
You always use a person?
Always.
Okay. You go to a person? Okay, specifically?
Unless I'm doing something simple, but mostly person.
Okay. What about you, Alex? Yeah, any of it. Decorations, programming, materials, ideas, whatever. You go to yourself? Okay.
Well, my ideas come from me, but the person who wants to bring the thing across to, I go to a person.
Gotcha.
Unless it's something that I can do myself.
Gotcha. Okay. What are you gonna say? Then we'll go to Tony.
Restaurant Depot.
Restaurant Depot? Friday? Oh yeah, he's the chef, so he goes there. Where do you go when you're looking for resources for youth ministry planning?
Google everything. And Pinterest.
Got you. Pinterest is a great resource. It's
Oh yeah, I use the Pinterest for
it's funny that she said that because that was the first place that I was gonna say. Google. For those that were at the president's meeting, you have this information in the packet, but if you weren't, jot it down. There's a website called The Source, 4 ym.com.
The source.
The Source,
4.
the
right,
number 4.
Okay.
Yep. ym.com.
Y as in you.
Yep.
M as a
Ministry.
man.
Yep. So it's short for the youthministry.com. The source for youthministry.com. This is one of the most powerful resources that I found on the internet for people who are looking to get great youth ministry done on a budget. Okay? This place has service ideas. This place has sermon lessons. This place has decoration ideas. This place has all kinds of things for free. Everything on this website is free. It's a great place for resources. And to Tonia's point, the internet is a youth minister's, a youth leader's, a youth president's best friend, because all you have to do is literally go into Google and type, youth ministry decorations or whatever, and something's going to come up. So oftentimes I use the source for youth ministry, or I just go to Google. Another thing that is most important is I call them people resources. So all of us who have done youth ministry on some level or another have experience, which means we have information. Ashley's not here, but I'm going to share this anyway. We do something here, or have done something here, called March Madness, which means that we do Bible study lessons around basketball themes. So last March we did something called Love and Basketball, and we used basketball terms to make a metaphor for spiritual principles. So, for example, we used a rebound, and we used the story of, we used the terminology rebound, and we used that to communicate the story of the prodigal son, about how he left his father's house, but he came back. It's a spiritual rebound. And I needed some help with ideas like that. So I saw Ashley, who has her group on Monday nights. She was doing something with basketball in the sanctuary, and it looked fun to me. It was like a 15-second clip on Instagram. So I asked Ashley about it. I said, what is that? Literally within 30 minutes, she sent me an email about the game. It's called Seated Basketball. I didn't have to buy any resources. Yeah, I didn't have to buy. We played for at least 3 weeks. Yeah, that's true. And people were knocking off people's glasses. It was fun. It was fun. Seated basketball. So it's a really basic game. You get a hoop, a garbage can. Hopefully it doesn't have garbage in it, or a crate, and you put it on the far side of the room on the left, and another one on the far side of the room on the right. You have everybody pick a chair, okay, in that area, and then you count off every other person is on the opposite team, and you have to pass the ball. It's basically basketball, except you can't move or dribble or travel. So it's basically like NBA basketball. But this is a great resource that I still used. How long ago did we use that, Will? How many weeks ago did we do that? 3 weeks. We just, and this was my second or maybe third time using it. So resources. So the reason why we even have this president's meeting is not only so you can sit here and listen to me, but it's so you guys can exchange information and get to know each other and come up with ideas or ask about ideas about things previously that people have done. When you go around to other people's, and this is why it's important for us to support one another, because when you go around to other people's youth ministry weekends or youth ministry outings or youth ministry services, you see an idea and you're like, man, that's a great idea. Why did I not ever think of that? So using people resources is a great way. I hope everybody has my information and the information of the staff to contact us if you have any questions. The other thing is, sometimes what I do is, when I'm very tight on a budget and I have a series in mind, I'll go to the dollar store and I'll base the lesson around what I can afford to buy. So before I put out the flyers and all that information, I'll say, okay, I got $20 this week, okay, and that's got to last for the next 4 weeks. So let me see what I can go to the dollar store and get. I can get some giveaways, you know, and let's just be honest, they don't even have to be great giveaways. But the fact that you can put on a flyer on Facebook, hey, come to Bible study tonight, we got giveaways, is going to be incentives for young people to come. Immediately, just the idea that you're giving something away instead of just standing up there talking for 45 minutes is going to be an incentive for them to come. In addition to that, I'll literally walk down the aisle and I'll come up with different resources and ideas based on what I see in the dollar store. And the other resource that I use through people is the international, it's on the IPYPU President's website. On the IPYPU site, there's a list of all the presidents from around the state that you have their number, you have their email address. I've literally, true story, there's a guy named Eugene Partridge who is the ODC, the Ohio District Council Young People's President. I needed some information, and I literally just emailed him based on the information I had. And have you guys seen those videos that we put out on Twitter and Instagram? Anybody see that video we did for the convention with the bloopers?
Oh, yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Has anybody seen any of the CDCYPU videos ever? Raise your hand if you've seen them ever. Okay. All those videos that I have done or Carrie's done or any of the social media team has done, it's from an app called, what's it called again? Replay. It's from an app called Replay.
Now.
Huh?
It's called Quick now.
It's called Quick now. Okay,
Yeah.
they changed the name. It used to be called Replay. It's called Quick. That app is so simple to use. All you do is put pictures into the app that you already have taken or videos that you've already have taken, and you just take music from your phone and add it in there, and it makes a cool looking video for you. It takes, what would you say, Carrie, 5-10 minutes?
What, putting the video
to
together?
put the information in to
Yeah,
create
it's
the
like
video.
5 to 10 minutes.
It doesn't take very long at all, and that's a resource that I got from. I'm trying to see if it's in my phone so I can show you guys. That's a resource that I got from him. I got from him because I asked him. I said, "Where do you guys make these videos?" And I saw an ODCYPU video, had music to it, had pictures of various services. I said, "Where'd you get that from?" And he said he sent me the information immediately. So far you have internet resources, you have people resources, you have, what else did I say? Dollar store resources. What are some other resources that you use? You missed. I shouted you out when you gave me the seated basketball game to use. Now, where'd you get it from? Because I know you probably got it from somewhere.
I looked online on a website called youthministry.com, I think, or .org.
Okay. So there are a whole list of sites. There's another one, a website online or a place I want to give you guys on Instagram. It's called Youth Ministry Games. This is on Instagram. It's called Youth Ministry Games. And you might not be a proponent of it, but I am. I'll try to interweave games or exercises into everything because number one, especially for Bible studies, because that incentivizes young people to get there on time. Because we're not going to do the game last. We're going to do the game first. So if you get there 15 minutes late, you can't get mad at me because you didn't participate in the game. You know we do the game for the first 15 minutes, or we do the exercise for the first 15 minutes. So I believe in always, more often than not, doing an exercise or a game because it gets people interested. Not only that, let's be honest, you get a bunch of young people around the table, you want them to be quiet and listen to you for 45 minutes. They want to talk to each other. They want to laugh. They want to joke. They want to interact with one another. So that 15 minutes or that 20 minutes that you give them is an opportunity for them to interact with each other. It's an opportunity for them to have fun with each other. It's an opportunity for barriers to be broken because oftentimes you get people in the room and they don't know each other and you start asking them questions and what does the room sound like? Crickets. You're like, so tell me, what are you guys dealing with this week? And they're like, the first thing they're thinking is, I don't know you, so why would I share that? Or I don't know these people. I don't have a rapport with these people. So these are the kind of things that I do and I think would be useful for you to do to break down barriers because that's the first thing because people are only going to receive what you give out and what they're open to receive. And if they have barriers up, they're not going to be open to receive. Did anybody else have any other resources or ideas that they use on a consistent basis that they wanted to share? I have a couple more. Okay, write this one down. Youth specialties. Youth specialties. Youth specialties is basically the encyclopedia of youth ministry, all things youth ministry. This is a institution that has websites. They have speakers that travel around the country. They have trainers that they send around the country. You know how we do our, youth conventions and all that jazz? They do trainings from city to city where they train youth workers like ourselves how to teach young people in a relevant way, how to disciple young people in a relevant way, how to build relationship with young people in a relevant way, how to get them to trust you. Those kind of things that, are touch and go sometimes. They talk about how to get the quietest young person to open up to you, how to incentivize young people to stick around and stay. So if you go to youthspecialties.com, they have books. I left my bag in my car, but I have a book in there called Sermons and Bible Study Lessons, Volume 1. So this is a book about as thick as this, full of Bible study lessons and Bible study plans that are focused for teenagers and young adults. I had to order it, so it cost me a few dollars, which brings me to one of the bigger points. Many of us don't have large youth accounts. We don't have thousands of dollars in our, if you do, I would love to borrow some. But if you don't have thousands of dollars in your youth ministry treasury, one of the things I want to admonish you to try, and you would be surprised at the results. Go to your pastor and say, Pastor, is there a way that we could get $100, okay, that you could sow? Ask him or her outright. Would you be willing to sow $100 to help us to do some programming? And you take that money and you buy some youth ministry ideal books, right? You go to, what's that cheap place to get decorations? Man, everybody uses AC Moore. No, it's teachers use it a lot. It's Asian
Oriental trading.
Oriental trading. Thank you. I said Asian. Help me, Lord. OrientalTrading.com. OrientalTrading.com is a place teachers use it all the time. Sunday school ministry use it all the time to get good decorations. And I don't want to say cheap decorations because let's be honest, you're going to throw all the decorations away anyway. So how expensive do they really have to be?
You can get games and stuff from there too. It's
All kinds of
everything's
things.
in wholesale. It's in bulk. So you can get a lot. You can get a bang for your buck.
Yes. Yes. So it's not something you're going to use one time. It's stuff that you can use for a long amount of time. But go to him and ask, hey, is there some money that you could give to invest to use for the youth ministry? Okay, let's say he says I can't, or she says they can't give you 100. Whatever they give, here's the way that you get them to give you more. You come to them and you ask them. You buy resources with that. You bring the resources back to them, and you say, Pastor, here's a book that I got on how to grow our youth ministry from 10 to 100. Here's a book of devotionals that I have, and you show them what you bought with the money, which shows him or her that you're putting forth the effort. Because oftentimes, your group might fluctuate. You know, in the wintertime, you might have a large group of young people because there ain't nothing else to do. It gets hot. It goes from 20 to 2 to 12. But at least if you're showing him or her what you're purchasing with the money, you're showing the effort and the commitment to do it. So many of us that don't have those kind of resources, do that. Not only that, for all the presidents that are here, you should know or be aware that myself, Latasha Keels, and Ashley Shaw have divided all the youth ministries into, quadrants, into 3 quadrants. And you can correspond with us. Anytime that you need resources, you've got your youth weekend coming up. The young people are going to do something Saturday. You have no idea what to do Saturday. Go to Ashley. Ashley, listen, we want to do something Saturday, but it can't cost money and it's got to be fun. Ashley's going to spend some time coming up with an idea or a bunch of ideas and submit them to you. You can take that idea she gives you and institute it just like she said, or you can add to it. But at least you've got somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, and somebody who's experienced, who's been doing youth ministry for years, right? Who has access. She knows youth leaders all around the country. She even knows people in Alabama, California, where else? Everywhere, all over the world, all over the world. I mean, she's international now. Her dad's the diocesan in Africa, so she's international now, right? So these are resources that you have. Anytime that you have something coming up and you don't know what to do, let's say they want to go somewhere Saturday and you're like, or Friday night after church, well, where can I take them? What's a good idea? What places are good to take a group of teenagers after hours that they won't get shot or killed or run away, or not only that I can take them, that I can see them all in the same place so they can't duck off in a corner and somebody come out with a baby. You know what I mean? You don't want that to happen either. That's not good at all. So what you can ask questions like that and we'll help you with those resources. If she doesn't have the answers, she's going to take it to me. If I don't have the answers, I'm going to take it to, I might call Jared Perdue, quite frankly. I've called him multiple times about many things. Hey man, I need more resources. I need more information. So anytime you need help, don't be afraid to reach out to them. We're going to be checking in. For those that don't know, we're going to be checking in with you all at least once a month anyway. But if anything comes up in the meantime, make sure you make good use of those resources. So I said youth ministry games on Instagram. I said youth specialties, which has games, Bible study lessons, sermons, service ideas, all that jazz. Oriental.com. Anybody else have any resources? Oriental Trading. Anybody else have any common resources that they use?
Five Below is really good as well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's
Done a lot of our game night and outside activities stuff from there.
got you. And it's a great. They got practically almost anything in there. It's basically about to put the Dollar Tree out of business because they have so much stuff in there for cheap prices. And let me say this about when you're trying to do youth ministry, dynamic youth ministry on a budget. It's not so much what you have, it's what you do with what you have. You can be creative with what you have. So I'll give you an example. We did a series a while back called The Hunger Games. No, The Hunger and Thirst Games. You know the movie The Hunger Games, which leads me to probably one of the most important things about teaching young people. When we're teaching and preaching, and Jared Perdue reminded us of this last week, we have to be relevant when we're doing it. So the Hunger Games was a big deal. I know everybody remembers how big of a deal it was. So we took the concept of the Hunger Games and added a spiritual concept to it and made it the Hunger and Thirst Games, because the Bible says, blessed are those that hunger and thirst after righteousness. So we put that in there, and now all the young people are coming like, wow, this is going to be the Hunger Games. And when we got there, we said, this ain't the Hunger Games, this is about the Bible. We trick you. No, I'm joking. We wouldn't do that. The only time you do that is if you do not want them to come back. But we used concepts from the movie to bring about spiritual concepts. Okay? And I have a picture of it because it's the largest Bible study we ever had. That first week that we did it, we had 35 young people come out. We were in the chapel. Were you there, Eric? Okay, we had 35, or maybe 36. We had 30 plus young people there for that first week. Now, we had some discussion about it because in the weeks that follow, the numbers dwindled. Okay, but part of the reason why the numbers dwindled is because I made the mistake of not keeping up the momentum, which is another thing. You have to be consistent with the idea. You can't put all the effort into the first week and then the second week go back to how you used to do things. You can't be like, hey, everybody come for the Hunger and Thirst Games this week, and you have these games the first week, and everybody's, has these assignments. We did a little bit of scavenger hunt tied into scriptures, and then the next week we were just like, okay, everybody, sit down. We're going to go to St. Matthew chapter, and people were like, so we're just doing the games 1 week? You have to, it's a delicate balance with youth ministry. And I know many people are like, the kids need more than games. Of course they need more than games. But there has to be a hook.
So
There has to be a hook. Go ahead.
would you advise like starting off gradually? Like what? Like you saying, giving out prizes and rewards and
Yeah,
because it leads up to more.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would say start with you. I wouldn't even say start with a game. You can do like a group. You can do like a group exercise. You can do like a simple group exercise. So one of another great resource is the show's canceled, but the ideas were great. Minute to Win It. Oh my goodness, those games are so fun. They're so simple and they're so cheap.
It's pretty much like I guess another resource is like if you just kind of Google team builders or
Yes.
like icebreakers, those things work really well. You can easily tie like the Bible or anything into it. Like we do it at my job a lot.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. There's so many resources. This Minute to Win It game, one of the ones we did, I don't have enough pencils in here, but we were talking about focus that week. So Guy Fieri, how do you pronounce his last name? Fieri, thank you. Guy Fieri, whatever, spiky hair guy. He did this game 1 week where he had balanced pencils on his hand, okay? And so we bought a pack of pencils, and you had, of course, only 60 seconds to catch as many pencils as you want. So everybody stood up one at a time, and you will put one pencil on the back of your hand, you'll catch it. And then after you catch one, you'll put two, right? Let me see if I can do it. And everybody's like, oh man, that's so easy.
Okay.
But around the time you get to 4 or 5, it gets a little bit more difficult. Let me see, I'm going to use a pen this time. That's probably not a good idea, but let's see how good my skills are. Help me, Lord. So everybody says that it's easy, and people are like, woo! And people are like, man, I can do this. This is easy. But what's happening is, what'd you say? Do it with my eyes closed? Do it.
I knew that was something.
We're still at
You're about to get fired. This is 6. So what's happening is, believe it or not, even in this moment, there's always one hater. What's happening, see, it gets difficult after a while. But what's happening, you were waiting for that to happen, weren't you? Shame on you. What's happening is, in that moment, you're using a metaphor to what you're about to teach on. And even more importantly, here's the catch. Anytime they play that game, from now on, if they've never played it, what do they associate it with? What you taught them. That Bible study lesson about focusing on your relationship with God, about focusing on prayer, about focusing on things that are important to your spiritual development. And they don't know, they just had fun for 10 minutes, but it's a spiritual seed that you're planting in their mind that's helping them to grow. And you're using something that's relevant to culture. You're using something that didn't cost you very much money. You probably got pencils all around your house. And you're making something dynamic out of something that is, quite frankly, quite simple. Anybody have any other resources that they use often that they wanted to share? Anybody have any questions about anything that I shared to this point? Either I did really, really good or really, really bad. Both? Gotcha. My tomatoes. But I if there's any, when there are questions, I want to admonish everybody that at any point, there is no time of the day that you can't email me or text me, and if I'm asleep, I'll definitely get back to you about whatever you need, and the people that are over your church, the overseer, Pastor Kills, or overseer Ashley Shaw, that's there to help you, to be a resource to you in your youth ministry, to help you with ideas. And not only that, because I spoke a little bit, most of the information I gave was about the games and hooks, but oftentimes the things that we need to focus on the most, as all of you all know, I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I came to Beulah Heights, and after I came to Beulah Heights, I was here a month, and the old youth leader, Bishop, said, she's going to be leaving and you're going to be the new youth leader, which was an exciting opportunity. But the problem was, I didn't know anybody, and they didn't know me. So the first thing that I had to do, and we still do it, is relationship building. We did a lot of come over the house, we're just gonna kick it. A lot of going to Dunkin' Donuts, sitting down after school. A lot of relationship building, because the old adage is true. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
And that's often why some of us might be having the issues that we're having in connecting with the young people, because they know you know the word, but you don't know them. They know that you love God, but they don't know you love them. I'm gonna teach next week when they shout. But anyways, your job description from a biblical perspective is being fulfilled, but your job description from a relational perspective is not. You would be surprised at how much difference remembering a young person's birthday makes. Texting them on their birthday, calling them on their birthday. You would be surprised at how much relationship equity you can buy with taking a group of young guys and young girls who go to the same high school for some ice cream. Or oftentimes we would be at my house kicking it. You know, Chris has come to my house. He's not welcome anymore because last week he beat me 3 times in a row in 2K, which is why he's boasting. But it's a basketball game, NBA game. Don't talk to him. He's not good at it either. So, but he was supposed to come last week, but he bluffed me. But anyways, relationship. I heard somebody say that relationship happens. Relationship is a byproduct of time spent. Relationship is a byproduct of time spent. So relationship can't happen because many of us are only spending time with our young people at church. we're taking 15 minutes after church and checking in with them and all that jazz. But for the rest of the week, they don't see you, they don't hear from you. There's no connection. The only time they hear from you is when they take a picture that's inappropriate on Facebook, then you inbox them and say something about it. I know I'm telling the truth on that one. That boy's very handsome. Anyways, so that's important. It's important. It's so necessary, because no matter how much, there are some people that might be anointed by God that you will not hear. Number one, the first thing, if you walk upstairs and you're listening to somebody that you've never heard of before, the first question you probably gonna sit down and ask is, who's that? The next question is, who invited them here? Who knows them? Who can vouch for them? And that relationship causes you to win the right to be heard. I know you think they should listen to you because you're the youth president, and they should, but there has to be an emotional and a spiritual connection. That's why Jesus spent so much time with his disciples, because he wanted them to know, before I correct you, I love you. Before I say, think about this, and I'm done. Think about this. Jesus said to Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan." He didn't say, "Hey, Peter, you're tripping. You're acting like Satan." Jesus looked at him and said, "Get thee behind me, Satan."
Satan.
Yeah, what?
Satan.
Satan.
You said
You
Satan.
What am I saying?
You're saying Satan.
Satan. I'm saying Satan together.
Satan.
You know, like y'all say, "man of God." I'm saying, yeah, come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Say it all the time. Say it all the time. So, he looks at him and says that. Now, imagine the kind of relationship that he had to have with him in order for Peter not to be like, "I'm out of here. This dude just called me Satan." You know what I mean? He had to have a serious relationship with him for Peter to not be like, "I'm done with this dude. This dude called me Satan in front of everybody." Many of us, if our pastors say, you know, "You shouldn't have worn them shoes today," you like, "I ain't coming to Bible study for the next month. Forget about it." But the relationship was so strong that something like that couldn't tear it apart. That's the kind of relationship that we should have with our young people. They should have our information. They should have our number. We should be building relationships. Of course, there's parameters that we should keep. There should be certain hours and stuff that we're communicating with them and those kind of things. But the relationship cannot be substituted. Because after you're not the youth leader anymore, one of the things that you will still have, will be your influence and your relationship, because you won't have the position anymore. That's what Jason told me when I took over as CDCYPU President. He said, make sure you build strong relationships, because one day you're not going to be the president. But the relationship you have with the young people will last for years and years and years. Thank you guys for your time. Just a couple quick announcements. So, business session is starting at 4:45. I'm sorry, help me.
2:45.
I was supposed to say.
Something, Gene.
Sorry. The business session is starting at 2:45. Sister Natasha Kills is going to go up shortly to make sure everything goes off without a hitch. I guess Chris already went up there to prepare his song. And then the count's going to start at 3 o'clock. Directly following the business session, as many of you all as would like to, we want all of you all to come, to the Food Truck Festival on Long Wharf in New Haven. Parking will take place at IKEA, thank you, right across the street. There is a $5 entrance fee for people over the age of 13. If you have people that are under the age of 13, they're free. But every person over the age of 13 has to pay $5 for entrance. Like I stated earlier, the food truck, you can cut off the camera.
Okay.